Welcome to Joke Story Trick Live with Michael Kent. I'm him. Let's go. Happy Tuesday night, everyone. My name is Michael Kent. Welcome to Joke Story Trick Live. Tonight on the show, we have ex-Navy SEAL Kristin Beck. Kristen Beck did 20 years in military, 13 deployments, 7 of those combat deployments. I'm really excited to have her on the show. How are you all doing, everyone? How was your week? Let's look at the chat. Oh my gosh, Mark DiTullio is here, Patreon subscriber.
Mark.
And Taylor, also Patreon subscriber and producer.
Taylor to the plate.
All right, we have Nicole here.
Nicole.
Yes, and a bunch of other folks. Thank you for joining the show. How has your week been? Mine's been a little bumpy, but such is life. We've got some bumpy times. We've got a lot of friends joining us, and I really do appreciate that tonight. Thanks for watching. Last week's show with House Sparks, so much fun. If you haven't watched House Sparks' appearance on this show, go back after this show. Go back and watch last week's show. It's on all of the platforms. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. You can go back and see any of them, except for Twitch only leaves it up for a couple weeks. I did snip out some of his interview so it can stay evergreen on the internet in perpetuity forever. We did have some folks join me for the pre-show party on Twitch. That's new. That used to only exist for Patreon subscribers, but now it exists for everyone. You can come and drink with me on Twitch. We can talk about what we're going to do for the week, and it's just sort of a hangout for an hour before the show starts at 8 p.m. Only on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Michael Kent Live. I've got a lot of fun stuff this week, but let's just get right into it. Let's do some stupid news. All right. In the stupid news, we have the first one. In Germany, a university is offering $1,900 grants for doing nothing. I'm not sure about my history, but didn't a bunch of Germans doing nothing get them in trouble in the past? Oof. Bike owners in Japan are decorating their bicycle seats with fake bird poo to deter bike thieves. This gives me an idea. Has America thought about putting fake bird poo on Social Security? In America, Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, pulls its finger lickin' good slogan from all of their advertising over coronavirus fears. This is a valiant effort by KFC because, when I think of healthy food, I think KFC. Residents of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, are mourning the brief life and loss of an urban cornstalk that had been growing downtown. Mourning an urban cornstalk's death is the closest thing South Dakota gets to gang violence. They probably poured one out and it was like corn syrup. They poured out corn syrup. I don't know. And finally, this week, we've seen the internet respond to the list of guest speakers at the Republican National Convention with jokes because they did it to themselves. I thought I would chime in by providing the complete list. So here are some of the 2020 Republican National Convention speakers. The St. Louis gun-toting couple, the kid who smirked at a Native American, Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, the My Pillow guy, the Your Futon guy, Clint Eastwood's chair, Clint Howard's microwave, Jeffrey Epstein's ghost, Carol Baskin's husband, Alex Jones's diary, Ben Shapiro's WAP, coronavirus, Peggy Schuyler from Hamilton, Christopher Columbus, the promoters from the Fire Festival, a bag of spiders, the canned crowd noise from professional sports, and finally, the South Dakota urban cornstalk. This has been your stupid news. That was ridiculous. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. And also thanks to my segment writers on that one, Eric Dittelman, Cameron Zvara, Jonathan Burns helped me write the stupid news every week. I couldn't do it without them. A bag of spiders. My favorite in all that was the Your Futon guy. The My Pillow guy, the Your Futon guy. I Love it. Stupid news is a lot of fun to write every week, but I couldn't do it by myself. It just ends up being, a bit much for me. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube tonight, which if you didn't see my video, we've got the YouTube back now at Michael Kent Live. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button. The subscribe button is the one that's down here in the corner. Subscribe, it's right there. And what that does is it let's get you the whoosh. Where is it? I like the sound. Where's the sound? Let's do it. Here we go. There you go. It's Michael Kent Live. You click that and then you click the little bell, and that way you'll never miss a show. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please do the same and follow me. Just click the follow button. Every set of eyes helps. I greatly appreciate it. You guys, let's tell some jokes. All right, so a duck walks into a bar and says to the bartender, "I'd like to buy some peanuts." The bartender says, "Sorry, don't sell peanuts." So the duck leaves. The next day, the duck returns and again says, "I want to buy some peanuts." The bartender replies a bit gruffly this time, "I already told you, I don't sell peanuts." So the duck leaves. The next day, the duck comes in once again and yet again demands, "I want to buy some peanuts." This time, the bartender's outraged. He yells back, "I told you, I don't sell peanuts. If you ask one more time, I'll nail you to the wall." So the duck leaves. The next day, the duck walks into the bar, and before the bartender can say a word, the duck asks, "Do you have any nails?" The bartender looks taken aback, and he says quietly, "Sorry, don't have nails." The duck asks, "Well then, do you have any peanuts?" I like that one. That one made me happy when I read it. So I wanted to hear your best guy walks into a bar joke. So here are a few submissions from listeners. This one's from Jen Plahovasnak. I hope I'm saying that right. Jen Plahovasnak. A man goes into a bar in New Orleans and says, "Can I have a Corona and 2 Hurricanes, please?" The bartender says, "Sure, that'll be 2020.
That's not funny. That's not funny at all.
It is funny, but it's also, that's real.
You lose.
Okay. Dennis Alm says, a pork chop walks into a bar. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here."
That's so funny. The last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Alex Madsen says, a weasel walks into the bar and the bartender says, let me get back to it, sorry. A weasel walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Well, I don't see many weasels. What can I get you to drink, Mr. Weasel?" "Pop," goes the weasel. Okay. From J. Randall Hicks. A guy walks into a bar with a Rottweiler on a leash. Bartender says, "No dogs allowed. You'll have to tie him up outside." A few minutes later, a guy walks in and asks, "Who owns a Rottweiler outside?" The first man says, "I do. Why?" Second man says, "Sorry, my dog killed your dog." First guy says, "What kind of dog do you have?" The second guy says, "A toy poodle. He got stuck in your dog's throat." No.
Fool this man.
I need some more booze.
Fool this man.
Nicole says that's amazing and wrong at the same time. Big thumbs down on the on the dog dying. Okay. It's a rough week for that one. All right. From Ty Argo, a Roman walks into a bar, holds up 2 fingers and says, "5 beers, please." I like that one.
Oh, gosh, that's funny. That's really funny. Do you write your own material?
Okay. Tammy Walkup says, a male giraffe walks into a bar and says, "Highballs on me." I actually
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my...
Okay. I like that one a lot, actually. Here's my favorite submission. Oh, wait, Taylor Hurte has one live. Let's do a live one. Taylor Hurte says, a priest and a rabbit walk into a bar, and the rabbit says, "I think I'm a typo." That's stupid. It's also funny. This is my favorite one of the week. This is my favorite joke of the week of all. And listen, my Facebook was full of these. There were so many I couldn't include this week. My favorite submission comes from David Kaplan. David says, a dog walks into a bar. He says, "I'm looking for a job." The bartender says, "Oh my gosh, a talking dog. There's a circus at the edge of town. You'd be perfect." And the dog says, "Why would the circus need a typist?" And those have been your jokes. I love it. I love it. Thank you for the thumbs up. You guys are great. Thanks for joining me yet again today. I was looking at the numbers from last week's show, and we're averaging I think there are 600 people that are watching the show live across all the different platforms. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I got to tell you, I want your jokes on the show next week. So send me your jokes. To do so, you just go to Michael Kent Live. Thanks, Austin, for liking the stream. You go to michaelkentlive.com/jokes. Greatly appreciate that. And I got to tell you, what's happening here? Why am I listening to myself? Let's turn that off. That was weird. I heard myself somehow. Okay. So anywho, let's get back to that. If you submit a joke, it's michaelkentlive.com/jokes. And what that does is it sends me a joke. You can even leave it I'm not going to spam you. If you don't want to say it on my Facebook or something like that, and you want to leave me a good joke, I liked the idea this week of doing themed jokes, which was something new. All of the jokes were of the same theme. So we've done jokes now. Wait, we haven't done jokes. There's one left. It's time. Eric Dittelman, welcome, man. You say you just got out of a show and now you're an audience member. How's it going so far? It's going well, I feel. I've had a few beers because of the pre-show party, which was a lot of fun. And hopefully your show went well. Eric Dittelman, since you just now joined us, you get to spin the wheel this week. This is the Wheel of Jokes. Everything on this wheel right here represents a joke book that I own. Let's spin it. And we land on podium humor. Oh boy. So some of these books are old. And of the old books, this one's really freaking old. This is James C. Hume's Podium Humor, a raconteur's treasury of witty and humorous stories. Oh boy. Okay. Eric, there are 282 pages in this book. Tell me a page. World's worst book test. Any one you want, any page you want, and we're going to find a topic. Oh man, there are 282 of these, and some of these are fairly dated. I'm just going to warn you right now, some of these are fairly dated. Eric Dittelman, it's up to you, man. You've got 282 pages to choose from, and your page, your number is going to be 143. 143. Okay. Well, here we go. This one's good. This is good. This is good because the topic is, let's go over to this camera, independence. Where is it? It's on this page. Independence. And the topic is political. The story is political. Here's your joke. When I hear so many state officials crying for states' rights and freedom from federal interference, while at the same time petitioning for more funds from Washington, I am reminded of a little boy I saw the other day walking around the block with a suitcase. I asked the 5-year-old what the problem was. The little fellow explained that he was running away from home. He was angry with his mother. Then why do you keep walking around the block, I asked, to which the boy replied, because I'm not allowed to cross the street without my mommy. I don't even get it. I don't even get it. This book was written, let's look. It's what's funny is as I started reading that, I was like, oh, this is going to be topical and timely. 1975. All right, well, maybe better next time. There is your wheel of jokes. Gosh, that one. Eric says, thanks. I hate it. That's awesome. Okay. Well, hey, they can't all be winners. Some of them aren't going to make sense because they're freaking old. It's time for a story. So it's show and tell today. This week's story is show and tell. Watch. This is what they call a command coin. Oops, sorry about that. Let's get to this. Here we go. This is a command coin. Nope, we don't want that. Sorry about that. This is a command coin that is from the U.S. Navy. Let's get a better shot of this. Here we go. And I'll read it to you. It says on the bottom, unquestionable integrity. On the top, it says tried, tempered, and true. And then this side's beautiful. Look at that. Hang on, get a better zoom of that. This is from NMCB-5, which is a Naval Mobile Construction Battalion, and those are otherwise known as Seabees. They call them Seabees in the Navy. This coin was given to me by the commander of that Seabee unit, and it's an interesting story because I was on, this was in 2016. I was on a tour of Asia, and I had been performing in all these places, and I was in Diego Garcia, which is a tiny little place in the middle of nowhere. And as I'm performing in Diego Garcia, after I performed in Diego Garcia, I rode this plane back to I think I had to connect in Singapore to get to the next place I was going to, which was Okinawa. And there was a guy there in the airport that said, "Hey, we saw your show last night." He's like, I'm the CEO of the Seabees that are, the Seabee unit. And he goes, "Where are you going next?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to Okinawa next, but I got to go to Singapore to go to Okinawa." He's like, "Oh, that's where we are." I said, "Okinawa?" He said, "Yeah." It was the CO and the XO of NMCB-5, the naval, the Seabees. They were stationed right there in Okinawa. So I said, "Why don't you come to the show? I'm doing the show." He said, "Man, I laughed my butt off at your show. I'm going to bring the whole unit." Well, the show sold out. The line was around the block. The show sold out long before the show ever started, and they never got in. So after the show, I did a command performance for them in what they call the Crow's Nest. Up on top of this, it was like a small mountain. And when you go up all these steps, oh my God, it took me forever to get up there. I was out of breath. They were all up there drinking in their clubhouse. And they welcomed me in. I drank with them. I did a lot of magic for them. And there was in Okinawa, they have a thing called habu sake. It's sake, like Japanese sake, but there's a habu viper, an actual snake, in the bottom of the bottle. I went to the habu sake factory a few years ago before this, and I had seen how they make this. They literally kill the snake so quickly that when they put it in the bottom of the bottle and fill the bottle, the snake opens its mouth. And so in every bottle of habu sake, there's a viper with its mouth open like this. Now, we were down to the bottom of this bottle of habu sake. I had tried the habu sake last time. It tasted just like sake. But this bottle, since it was down to the bottom, it was a few years old. And it tasted like what you would imagine a rotted snake would taste like. It was disgusting. But I'm not a quitter, so I did it. And then we stood around in a circle and we played a game called Thunderstruck, which is where, I'm not sure if you know this, but you drink. If it's you drink around the circle and you're drinking and you drink until the next time the AC/DC song plays. They're playing the song AC/DC Thunderstruck, and the next time they say Thunderstruck is when you have to stop drinking and the next person starts drinking. Well, occasionally what will happen is you'll get stuck on the lyrics or on the verse instead of the chorus, and it's like a minute and a half before the next Thunderstruck, and you get screwed. So that happened to me. It was not fun. Well, it was fun. It was fun, but I couldn't hang. I couldn't hang. And I was going through some videos. Hefty no thank you, says Taylor Hurte. Nicole Reese just has the puke face on the emoji. So I found a video of this whole experience. Now, this video starts before I got to Okinawa, so there's some other information in here and some other stuff, but I did a really good job on this tour of chronicling everything I did, so enjoy this. Let's go here. I had an off day yesterday in Singapore, so I decided to go to Universal Studios Singapore for the day. By the way, this was amazing. This was the Waterworld live show. This was November 3rd, 2016. While I was walking around, the election was going on. I was getting election results. It was that evening in America. I was getting election results as I was walking around. Today, I am flying to Okinawa, and so it's off to Japan. I had to hang out here for quite a while in the Singapore airport, which I actually don't mind because Changi Airport is actually really nice. An incredible airport. So that lets you know where I was going.
Okinawa is gorgeous. There are so many beautiful things to do and see here. Unfortunately, I just have such little energy that I'm not going to leave base. I'm just going to stay here. And that happens sometimes in this job. Sometimes you fly halfway around the world and you don't really see much of it. And that's all just part of the job sometimes. You hope that people show up and you wonder if they're going to. It's 30 minutes until showtime, and the room's already full. I'm looking forward to a good time here.
So after this was when I ran into the CO and he told me they couldn't get in. He said the whole unit, we tried to get in and we couldn't get in.
I was invited to hang out with NMCB-5, that's Naval Mobile Construction Battalion, CBs. And CBs know how to party. We had a good time last night, hung out, had a blast. I did magic for them. I actually met the CO and the Master Chief of the group in Diego Garcia. They had seen my show there. I got their own private show up in the wardroom and just had a blast.
So here's some footage from that night.
Okay, now... Woo! That's great. So you shuffle. It's not cool.
They're very drunk. We were all pretty drunk.
Your name was on a card. You shuffled in my hands, but I didn't shuffle.
Hey, don't lie.
Watch.
Liar.
No.
Stop it.
Nah.
Sorcery. Holy water. What? No. Stop it.
Here. I'll let someone else. I don't want to touch.
Rob, how much like fade?
What?
Bullshit. Bullshit.
That was someone else's shoe.
Thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for what you do for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's all of
Time to leave
NMCB-5.
Okinawa once again. It's been a great trip so far. It's been another great stop, and now it is on to the next show.
So a lot of time I'll say in those videos, it's on to the next show because I'm literally not allowed to talk about where I'm going. I'm only allowed to make videos and talk about where I've been for security reasons. So this was given to me by the commander after that show, which is his command coin. I've got an awesome collection of these command coins from different military leaders that I've performed for and met throughout the years and in all the different countries. And so this, not only does this mean something to me, but I'm proud of it, and it also has a memory attached to it, which is amazing. So speaking of military, that brings me to my guest tonight. Kristen Beck completed 20 years of exceptionally meritorious service with Special Operations Forces at SEAL Team 1, SEAL Team 5, SEAL Team 6, and the headquarters at SOCOM. After 20 years serving her country, she came out as transgender, the first Navy SEAL to do so. Her achievements in the military include finishing Navy SEAL training at the top of her BUDS class, the Bronze Star with Valor, the Purple Heart with Valor, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, a Presidential Unit Citation, and many others. She's now an outspoken advocate fighting for the rights of all qualified Americans to serve in the military. I've been following her on social media for several years, and when it comes to inviting people on the show who have stories, she was one of the first people I thought of. Please welcome to the show, Kristin Beck. What's up, Kristen? Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks a lot, Michael.
I've been following you on social media forever, and when I thought of someone who has stories, holy shit, do you have some amazing stories. 13 deployments, and 7 of those were combat deployments, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's now
Yeah.
where all can you tell us where all you served?
Well, I was at SEAL Team 1 for the beginning of my career. And then I went on to another place to do some mission planning and building computer systems for the SEALs. It was like 1990s, so we didn't really use computers for doing almost anything back in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I played a video on my show last week of me in the 90s doing magic as an 11-year-old. And you can tell from the video quality that how we were not advanced back then.
Yeah, not at all. So I was the person that built a computerized mission planning system for the SEALs.
Wow.
The system I built, they still use it today.
No way. I feel like they should update that. If
Yeah,
it
but
was
if you
built
do
in the
something
90s.
really good, you don't have to. I mean, the pyramids, they've been around for a long time.
That's true. That's true. Well, the aliens built those though. So how
That's
do you
true.
Anywho, I listened to it was like a 4-hour podcast that you were on that talked about a lot of the endeavors that you started doing several years after your 20 years of service with the military, talking about equality opportunities for everyone who is able to serve in the military. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about your efforts there?
Well, I mean, I'm saying that anyone that has capability to serve in the military should be able to have that opportunity. And when you think about capability, if you're thinking about Conan a Barbarian, and you're thinking about swinging swords, then yeah, you got to do a lot of push-ups, and you got to be able to run 10 miles, and you have to be able to do all that stuff. But the future of warfare, talking about cyber warfare, talking about drone warfare, man, if you have some guy or some gal that can fly a drone and they're the best at it, then I don't care if he can't run. I don't care if he can't even do one push-up. If the guy's the best drone pilot, then let him fly the darn drones. So we need to have a whole new mindset on how we look at warfare for the future.
That's really, really interesting, because you're talking about people who wouldn't be able to make it through boot camp, let alone BUDS training. Like we're talking about people who never would have thought that they were able to serve, even growing up as a child. That's not something that they would aspire to or think that they could do, but it totally makes sense. I mean, they've
talk about transgender people, you talk about females in combat, you talk about all the different groups of people who are all trying to say, you need to give these folks a shot, give them a chance. They might turn out to be the best person in the world. And a great example of that is David Goggins.
Tell me about David Goggins. I'm not familiar.
You got to look him up. He still sets the Guinness Book of World Records for the most pull-ups in 24 hours. It's like something like 4,000 pull-ups. I mean, you have to look it up. I don't know the number, but the guy did like some amazing amount of pull-ups. But there was a time when the man weighed like over 300 pounds and he couldn't run or do anything. He was like really, really bad shape. And he just put his mind to it. He says, you know what? I'm going to run a super marathon. And so out of the blue, this like 300-pound dude just started running a super marathon. He ended up like breaking his ankles and really screwing himself up. But it's about where your mind is, But I'm talking about like the future of the military. We need to kind of rewrite some of those books. And there could be like a different class of soldier. Maybe the ones who aren't deployed into like the bread and butter of what you see the military now, special forces and army guys on the ground, 11 Bravo, airborne, that would be, out there. But if you have folks that are here in a freaking 40-foot sea container in the middle of Las Vegas desert, flying drones, do you really care if the guy can run or do push-ups?
It makes a lot of sense. Now,
I think they really need to reconsider it.
I've spent my life as a civilian, but I've been around military folks a lot, just performing. I've performed on probably 29 or 30 different military bases and spent quite a bit of time. I can imagine the things that you're saying get quite a bit of pushback.
Oh yeah,
from fellow service people. Is that true?
100%. Yeah, it's 100% true. But the thing is we need this is a new world we're coming into. And I think for us to create the Space Force was the most ridiculous thing you could ever think of. The thing is like the force we need now is a combined cyber force.
Yeah.
So if they would think about what we need right now, like we're not going to be fighting on Mars for 200 or 300 a century. I don't know. So it's not something that we really need. And if you think about the Air Force right now, if I was in charge, I would take the Air Force and split them right in half. I would give the tactical half to the Army. That would be the A-10s, the Warthogs. I would give them all of the tactical air type power. I would keep the fighter jets maybe with the Army, but then you would take the Missile Command, the Strategic Air Command, the B-24s. They don't even have B-24s anymore, but the B-1B bombers, big stuff. And then that would be extended into space. That would be the Air Force.
Okay.
And the Army would therefore have control of the tactical assets. Because, I mean, the Air Force tactical, I mean, when you're talking about the A-10s, man, whoop, those
They're amazing.
The most amazing. And
Yeah, it's an airplane built around a gun. And
you know what the Air Force does with that airplane?
What's that?
Like, if you talk to us, the folks on the ground, who the Warthogs have saved like 1,000 times, we freaking love that. And we hate the rest of the Air Force. But the Air Force is constantly trying to kill the A-10.
Really?
Okay, spooky, the gunship, too. So the AC-130s, the A-10, and they have a couple other assets that are good for the transport, the stuff that we use all the time.
Sure.
And given in the Army. Because the Air Force, the brass, they hate all those assets.
Huh.
I don't know why. All they love is their freaking Tomcat flyers. They don't even fly Tomcats anymore. But they love like those guys.
Yeah,
They
like the
hate
F-16s
A-10
and the
pisses me off so bad.
Interesting. Yeah. Dude, as an aviation
And then get rid
enthusiast,
of Space Force, give all that Space Force stuff to the Air Force when they give all the stuff to the Army. So that's a combined force. And then stop all the BS with the Space Force and create a cyber force. Because right now, cyber warfare and economic warfare, those two right now, that's going to be what the downfall of America is. It has nothing to do with bombs and bullets. We're getting cyber to death. They're in our backyard right now all the time. The people that don't really like our country, and we're getting beat up bad. So
I
create
hope everyone's hearing this. I totally agree.
Staff level. Yeah,
I totally agree, and I'm agreeing from the side of I've never been in the shit like you haven't. You've seen it from the inside. But when I see the stuff about the Space Force, it's almost laughable to a large part of the population. Now, ridiculous. Speaking of the president, you are trying to appeal to the president to work with him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
He tweeted like he always does.
He tweeted. That's just the end of the sentence. He tweeted.
What he said on there was that he transgender individuals will not serve in any capacity in the U.S. military because we're not worthy. We're not capable. And so I was basically said, dude, say that to my face, man. Let's have a talk. Yeah. And everybody thought I was trying to like do a UFC fight with him or something, but it was like an honest conversation. There are over 15,000 transgender people serving right now in uniform. And you're telling me that we're not worthy?
Right.
I know people who are flying helicopters, flying airplanes, just Navy SEALs. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of folks.
And I know that you're not approaching it from like a combative standpoint, because I've heard you talk and you are a, hey, come in here, let's talk about it type of person. I've heard, and I really appreciate that, because that's a problem that I personally have, especially when you talk about political type topics, is that, people become polarized, and I find myself in that trap where I end up sort of moving to the extreme left of things. And I would find it hard to say, hey, I don't want to fight you. I want to tell you from my experience what we can do. I'm skeptical that this current administration really wants to hear that type of thing.
Well, if you think about the 1940s and in the 1950s, there was a whole huge segment of the military that said the same thing about African Americans. They said black people will never serve in the military equivalent to us because they don't have the ability to think. And they had all these things. They had doctors, like these psychologists and doctors and all these PhDs writing papers on the inability for African Americans to serve in the military. Yeah. And it was all total BS.
Right.
And it was like, what? It's the same thing we're going on right now. And so it just doesn't make any sense. If someone's capable, and then let's serve. Let's do it.
I love it. It's so awesome to hear. I think it's an amazing message, and I want to hear more of it. But the reason we brought you on the show, Kristen, is to tell a story. And so I'm just going to give you the full screen to take it away. Tell us a story.
A story. Damn, you really got me on this. So I didn't know I was supposed to come on here and tell a story. Next thing you're going to ask me to tell a joke or do a trick or something.
Well, all three if you want. If you want to start with a joke, that's fine too.
Well, there's the thing about me is, and you think about Navy SEALs, you always think about those guys who are the Conans, you know, they're real loud. They're thumping their chest all the time. They wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do push-ups. It's like, dude, that's not all the SEALs. And the thing is, what makes our units really great is that we're all different. And I think that if you think about any SEAL platoon, in every platoon, you're going to have the dude that like drinks way too much. You're going to have the dude that works out way too much, the triathletes and all that stuff. You're going to have a guy who's a Bible thumper. You're going to have a guy who's like super messy and the most nasty person you ever met, but he shoots an M60 machine gun like crazy. Then you had someone like me, you know, I mean, I was the intelligence person. I was the one that was always on the computers and doing the intelligence gathering. And I was the one that gives out like the patrol orders and this and that and like all the details for it, for like the planning stuff. Because I was a college person, philosophy and all that. But my abilities were like that type, which made the platoon better. And so when I think about myself in the SEALs and how different I was, I think about a story when I was in Afghanistan. We were going into this compound. It was a pretty big time warlord. And there's a photo right behind me, that photo right there. I'm pointing in the wrong direction.
I always do that too. I'm like, it's over here.
Everything's opposite. I was looking kind of like that. We were going after this warlord.
Is that a beard? I can't it's kind of fuzzy in the background, but
yeah. I'll grab it off there and show it to you in a second.
Okay, yeah.
I was showing you my guns for a second. But we were going after this warlord in this compound. This guy was like a bomb maker. He was big. We knew we had to go get him. And we suspected there was a lot of explosives in the compound too. So we were going in pretty quiet. We were going in stealth. And so as we're going in, we're going under this window. And then for some reason, all hell breaks loose. It just starts going off. And so we rush into that door, and it turns out to be the guy's room. And so the room is about 8 feet across, and it's about 12 feet wide. We're in the middle of the door, and we're going onto the sides, how we clear a room. So it goes left, right, out of the doorway, the fatal funnel. And so now we're on that wall, and the guy's in there. He's getting up. He's going for a gun. There's another door out back that somebody starts coming in. The wife is on the floor now because it was just enough time for them to start reacting and start doing stuff before we actually kick the door in. And in the middle of that room, there's a baby's crib. And so everything's just going off. And so because of who I am, I'm not the Conan just hitting everything with swords. I'm like that kind of thinker, and I'm always like, I'm different. And I admit that. And so I immediately put my weapon to the side and grabbed the baby from that crib and started trying to get to safety. But at the time, though, the phase line where we were all lined up, I went in front of all the other guys, and it was a terrible tactical mistake to break the line to get in front of, because then other people don't have shots. But there were still, the shots were going on, so it wasn't like I was really, and we're so accurate anyway, you don't really worry about hitting your own guys or missing.
Wow.
I wasn't worried. And I knew it was a break in some of the tactic, but it was a tactical break that had to happen. And so I get the baby out of the room, and then I get the wife is out after everybody's smoke is cleared and it's all good. The guy's laying on the ground, he's not with us any longer. But so the wife is out and the baby, I hand the baby to the wife, and then we get all the ladies and everything in the area of the compound, start doing all the questioning and all that. But the point of the whole story was, if you want to have a SEAL team group made up of Conans, they have big swords and all they do is smash everything. If all you had was a Hulk and all you did was smash everything, imagine 16 Hulks.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it's a terrible solution.
Sure.
So you need to have that diversity. You need to have folks like me in there. And I think that's one of the big problems with the SEAL teams right now, is that all they do is glorify those Conans. All they do is give them all the air in the room. And so that's what we end up with, is because if that's what I have to do, eventually I started doing that also. I started becoming that Conan, just crushing stuff.
Yeah.
It was taking away the stuff that makes me that different person that could give a better view of the SEALs, or a better mission accomplishment. Because not everything is smashing. Not everything is just destruction.
Wow.
So the point of the story is, I think one of the big failures in the SEAL teams right now, that you constantly see the SEALs in the news doing just crappy stuff. It's like unethical, immoral. It's like just all this stuff going on. What happened to integrity? What happened to honor? I was at a SEAL team funeral, burying a friend of mine who was a really good friend. And I had a whole bunch of SEAL team guys surround me and kick me out of the funeral because of who I am. I was actually wearing the same shirt I'm wearing right now.
Wow.
It's just a tank top that says "Live fast, die pretty." Kind of a cool tank top.
It is a cool tank
But
top.
the thing is, can you imagine your own team surrounding you, a dozen guys, threatening me and right in my face saying, "If you don't leave, we're gonna fight you."
And what could that possibly? How could they possibly be threatened? What does that do to them? You know what I mean?
He said I was not welcome. You're not allowed to be here. And I was like, yes, I am. Mike was my friend.
It's ridiculous.
But this is the SEAL teams we have right now.
Yeah.
And this is a SEAL team that we need to change.
There was a guy on the news this week, on the airplane with the mask, and it's that type of mentality that we see glorified. And
because you want to be the tough guy, and you want to be that thumping, crushing Conan, and you don't think about compassion. You don't think about humility. You don't think about any of that. And that was my whole gig is that if anybody knows me, I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm just gonna do my best, and I'm not going to take any credit for something, or I'm not going to try to be loud. I just want to go about quietly and do my job.
I'm sure it's incredibly difficult to continue both of those mindsets simultaneously, to maintain a sense of humanity, but also be trained to be a warfighter and to know that you will have to engage in extreme violence at times when you're fighting wars. I can't imagine having to split your mind into those two things and make sure that those two parts of your brain are the devil and the angel are on your shoulders and fighting all the time. I can't imagine being in a situation where you're storming a compound and flipping that switch to say, that's a baby. Wow.
Have you ever heard of neuroplasticity?
Yeah.
So that's a really big part of the whole SEAL team problem right now.
Oh yeah. Well,
that makes sense. You're in a culture that all you're doing is smashing, and all you're doing is glorifying the smashers, the Hulks, the Conans. Sure. And all you're doing is doing that, and everything's like, smash. And what happens is you start rewiring your brain into that whole concept, and you don't do any of the other stuff. You're going to end up with an entire force that are a bunch of Hulks and Conans smashing everything.
Are you saying that Rambo was not a documentary?
Yeah. But I really believe that they can change it. They can make the SEALs change. And I have some programs that I do that they just need to start implementing some other stuff and start showing these guys that there's other things. There's compassion. There's the saviors of the whole thing. We're the rescuers. We're the ones that are supposed to be running in there like firemen. So instead of being the SWAT team, you guys got to start looking at yourselves like firemen, and we're going in there to save people. We're going in there to make things better. And how do you do that? We need to rewire all of them and say that, hey, yeah, it's good. We definitely need to crush the door, but when you're on the other side of the door, we also need to kind of change our gears. We need to do that and that. And that's what they don't get it now. And that's why the force is failing. They need to have a whole change in their ethos. And their actual magazine is called Ethos. And what does the ethos mean? It's a contradiction right now. Compassion's a contradiction. Humility is a contradiction. Everything you would think would make them the quiet professionals, they're lacking. They've lost it. And so they need to start doing some programs. And I volunteered to help them. I said, hey, you guys want litmus paper? I said, I'm a litmus paper. When I walk into a room, you're going to see exactly who the good SEALs are and who the bad ones are.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Just have cameras all around the room and just let me walk in.
Did you ever see the series Mindhunter? Did you watch that? It's on it's on one of the streaming services. It's about it's about when the FBI went through a change that's kind of similar to this when they started studying serial killers. And the mentality in the FBI that was prevalent was the prevailing thought was smashing, Hulk your way through. It was the old hand to hands and bust people up when, if it's a person who killed someone, throw them away. Don't even think about it, beat them up, kill them, whatever. But Mindhunter is about the first time they started having psychologists come in and say, no, we need to study these people and figure out why they're doing this. and look at it from the point of like this is a systematic thing. Let's study them. Let's look at it from a more of a academic standpoint. And it's really interesting. It just what you're saying reminds me of that same transition that they went through back in the 60s.
So the FBI really went through this change.
Well, it seems this way because
But that would be amazing for the SEALs, the SEAL headquarters to really look into it. What was the climate, the atmosphere? What was the FBI like before?
Yeah,
what
it might be a
do?
great case study or a parallel to draw, because I think you don't think of the FBI as not being tough. Like, they're still able to do the job that they're required to do. But that was also set 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So I don't know how things have changed since then, but it's been interesting nonetheless. I really do appreciate you sharing all this with us, Kristen. Part of coming on the show, in addition to just telling a story, which you've just done amazingly, is allowing people, if they want, to tell a joke or do a trick. Do you have a joke for us?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a joke as part of a story.
Okay, that's better.
So-
That's even better.
So the unit that I was part of, there wasn't very many of us doing the stuff we were doing. We were always attached to other forces. So I was attached to some the Afghan commandos in a certain province. It was called the Coast Provisional Forces, KPF.
Okay.
So I was attached to these guys, and so we did some missions, and we'd get back done with the missions, and they would give us this huge spread. And it was only like it was like 4 SEAL team guys with a couple of Green Berets. It was all mixed up. Actually, it was probably only like 3 SEAls. Couple of Green Berets and a few other, civilian type guys, and all these Afghanis. And so they had the food all spread out on this huge mat on the floor, and then they had all the drink, tea, and all this stuff. And they were coming in doing that, and we're eating food with them, just talking and having a great time. There's no booze involved, of course.
Yeah,
It was just food and tea.
sure.
So after the meal, they're just sitting back drinking tea and just kind of kicking back. They rolled the little mat up that all the food was on, and then some other folks brought it away. And then they started telling jokes, and they were just laughing. And so they were looking at us going, hey, why don't one of y'all tell a joke? And all of us are going, no way. And all the jokes the Afghanis were telling, they were like these total lame, like 4th grade jokes. And so I was sitting there and says, well, I know a joke. And so the guys are going, no, don't. And I was like, yeah, but one of us should tell one joke just to show the camaraderie. Hey, they're our friends. We're joined with them. So I tell a joke, and I have an interpreter tell, and the interpreter would interpret what I was saying to the Afghanis. And so I start the joke out. A horse goes into a bar, and the Afghani interprets. The horse goes into a bar, and then everybody starts arguing. And so we're all just sitting there going, what the heck? And they're arguing about the one sentence I just gave. Dang. And they were going, well, and I asked the guy, hey, what are they talking about? What's going on? Well, the horse. And it was like, the bar. Does it have alcohol? Is it liquor? And I was like, why would a horse go to a bar anyway? And I was like, okay, we'll take out. Okay, so a horse goes into the general store. They have those little general stores all over. And they go, okay, yeah. And then so he interprets, a horse goes to the general store. They're arguing again. And I'm going, what's up? And they're going, well, we don't let the animals go inside the store. It's not very clean. And they're like arguing all these little details about what they said. And I go, okay, just listen to the whole thing. So the horse goes in the general store, and the owner says, why the long face? And so they interpret the whole thing, and then they're arguing, they're talking all about it, and they're trying to figure words out. And it goes on for like 5 minutes. I'm just going, yeah. And I go, listen, just tell them. The horse has a long face. And then when I did that, they all started going, ah! They all started cracking up, laughing. They're going, oh my God, that was the funniest thing in the world. And I said, what are they laughing at? The horse has a beard. At the time, I had this huge beard. I had this big beard.
Yeah.
And I just thought the funny thing was a horse had a beard.
That's hilarious.
I was going, okay. So that was a story and a joke.
Oh, I love it. That's hilarious.
That story is like, think about language.
Yeah.
Think about perceptions. Think about humor in other languages. Try to be funny when you're sending a text to somebody. Half the time it doesn't work.
Yeah. You
Think
have
about
to have the
being
clues.
funny in a text to somebody else that doesn't even speak your language. I mean, it's just the language barriers.
Yeah, it's hard enough. I try to be funny telling jokes to a camera, and it's still not funny, and they still don't laugh. So I can't imagine, them trying to get it via text.
I want to use that communication issue between husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, between relationships, between people in the street. We are constantly misinterpreting signals and what they're saying and everything. We get mad over something. They're saying, no, the horse didn't have a beard. Yes, the horse did have a beard. It's like,
Yeah.
we're not even talking about a horse having a beard. We're just talking about a funny pun. It's
Yeah.
like puns can be funny and just language stuff. And it's like people don't take enough time to listen.
Right.
Everybody wants to talk. And so if you don't try to listen, you're going to miss the point every time.
There's a Facebook meme that I've seen several times recently that, you know, it always gets put on the thread when there are people arguing politics, and it's one guy pointing to the ground and he sees a 6, and the guy on the other side's pointing to the ground and he sees the 9.
Yeah.
You know, and it's it seems to be exactly what you're describing.
People need to try to listen more. Just listen more. That's all I ask.
You know, honestly, when I first started doing this show, listening to other people's stories, I'm so used to controlling a show and trying to tell the jokes and tell the stories that it took a little bit of effort for me to sit back and just relax and let someone else completely just take it away and tell a story. And I think it's made me a better listener since I've started doing this, which is great because that's applicable to other things in life. And so do you know any magic? Do you know any tricks?
I don't know any magic, but
No
earlier
magic?
you did, when we were setting up the camera, you said, "Hey, is that a singing bowl back there?"
Yeah, I saw the
And
singing bowl.
I'm kind of like unsure if I should do it or not because I'm stealing another person's culture. I had somebody actually tell me that I was stealing culture.
I think
because I played a singing bowl.
I think that's a
I
bit
would like to talk
ridiculous.
about that. Political correctness and this BS that's going on in the world right now. It's like, you know what? If the Tibetans didn't want me to play a singing bowl, then why the heck are they selling them all around the world?
Well, that's
And why do they
definitely
teach people how to do
true.
it? Can I respect it? Can I respect their culture?
I
and play
think
it?
one of the things that I say quite often, Kristen, is when someone usually complains about PC culture, normally I say, what is it you want to say that PC culture keeps you from saying? Usually it's something pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But there are gray areas and there are lines, right? And I don't think that the Tibetan culture is one that has this history of being denigrated and stolen, at least not in our country. And most people, I think, see it as a celebration of Buddhist culture, of Tibetan
It's a
culture.
respect.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think most people
is
see it
such a-
that way. Whoever told you that's being ridiculous.
It's such a soothing sound too.
It is.
look
I've
at
tried to
also-
play it and I can't play it. So if you can play it, that's a trick to me because I can't. I've tried and I haven't spent enough time learning.
Well, what you said also is really important because you said for the cultures like Tibetans, they're not denigrated. They're not like one of those cultures that we beat up all the time.
Yeah.
But the thing is like if you had a culture that you feel like you're being beaten up all the time, everything's all bad for you, and everything's been throughout history, you've been kicked around. But if other people started understanding your culture and started like appreciating it, started taking part in some of it, then it would bring everybody else closer to who you are to start gaining respect for your culture. Therefore, you wouldn't be kicked around anymore because everybody would be like, "No, that's respectful, man."
I think so.
I dig that.
I think intent is the driving force behind all that. I think if your intention is to understand and build community, then that goes a long way. There are people who do whatever they would call appropriate other cultures in a way that does not have that intent behind it. And we need to be able to draw those lines and say, this is people trying to celebrate other people. This is people using a group of people for their own, to build up their own self.
But the more we share and the more we speak and communicate and listen to each other, the closer we will be to being nice to each other and building compassion for each other. And we're never going to get there until we start sharing ideas and sharing.
Well, we're not going to get there on Facebook. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, not at all. Not at all. So here's the singing bowl.
All right. Can you raise it up? I don't know if you can play it when it's raised because the camera cuts it off. There we go.
So you kind of get a little.
I'm going to turn the volume up here.
See how slow I'm doing this? So you're not spinning it real fast, but you're finding a vibration in the bowl and you're matching the vibration where the stick goes.
Wow.
See?
Yeah,
So you're kind of stirring the sound.
that's amazing.
Now I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is just sitting here. Hear that?
Yeah,
It'll go like that for 10 minutes.
really.
Because this is like, it's one that was really handmade in Tibet.
Sure.
It has gold, silver, and like seven or eight different metals in the ingot that they beat into the shape of the bowl.
So, did you bring that from Tibet?
No,
or
it
did-
is.
Where did? Oh wait, do that again. I talked over it. I lost your mic.
That's the difference between
Oh, there it is.
stirring the sound or giving it.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's the other trick. Watch this. So if you have a headache or you have like some really bad migraines or something going on, if you do that, and you vibrate it through.
I'm gonna clip this,
You
and,
think that's
and
funny, huh?
that will be the that will be the clip that we use to promote the show right there.
What's that?
That's awesome. I said that'll be the clip that we use to promote the show. Just that bit right there.
No, the thing is like what I was doing is actually a technique
Is it really?
that Tibetan healers use.
Wow.
If you think about your body's made up of like 90 whatever percent water. And if you think about vibration flowing from the air into water, it dulls it and it gets rid of it. But if you think about vibrations going through water, all those vibrations that are in that bowl are going around the bowl, are in the bowl, going like this through the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole center is giant vibration. So if your head is inside of that whole vibration focus, all of that vibration is going straight into your body, into a water bag is your body. It's all it is.
Yeah.
And so that vibration is penetrating deep inside of all of my tissue.
That's
So
crazy.
it's a very, very healing thing.
Now
There's
I
a
need to
thing
go get
called,
one.
Tibetan singing bowls in Watsu. It's a water therapy where they have somebody floating, like almost like a zero gravity float
Yeah.
in warm waters, same temperature as you. And they have singing bowls around a person and they're shooting the vibrations down into the water, into the person
Wow.
as they're being massaged. It's like the most, if you want to talk about some deep, deep meditation and massage, Watsu. So look at Watsu.
I will.
It's amazing. I totally want to get into that if I can, but then you need to buy a big pool and all that. And,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you probably can't do it yourself. Someone else has to. Like,
but this right here, the Tibetans have been using the singing bowls for healing and meditation for thousands of years.
yeah.
So for them to hold it to themselves and not spread it out, and not want other people to respect it, and also utilize it, because you can end up being a happier person if you can heal yourself through meditation or a massage. Many different techniques. So that's what I would like to just promote, the fact that alternative non-Western medicine has a lot of amazing benefits that have been beneficial for thousands of years. So why shouldn't we use them and respect them and utilize them within our own medicine?
Sure.
I think that's
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
That's great. I'm going to look more into it.
There's something else that was sitting back there.
I have a, what's that?
So talking about stealing cultures, you see this hammer?
Yeah.
And you see the one, oops, you see the one on my neck right here.
Hold on. I'm going to full screen this. Oh, wait, that's too low. Hold on. Yes.
Well, so I wear Thor's hammer,
Okay.
and my middle name is Thor.
Your actual middle name is Thor?
It was spelled the old Scandinavian. It's like the old. It's
Wow.
spelled T-O-R with the little
T-O-R. Yeah.
Thor. But that's this old Norse spelling for Thor was T-O-R. There's 3 letters in the old runes.
Cool.
So those 3 letters, that's my middle name.
That's awesome.
And so this hammer, so I had a hammer and a pair of wire cutters that I carried for breaching. So it's a 2.5 pound sledge, and I had it on my side. And so I carried this sledgehammer for 3 tours in
Wow.
Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's incredible.
So this hammer has some stories.
I bet it does.
That's why it's so beat up. It's kind of broken.
It's pretty great to have.
But it's a Thor's hammer that was actually used from a warrior.
Yeah.
And now I
From
got
an
the-
actual Thor.
and my middle name is Thor. So how can you go wrong?
So great. I have a
Well,
question.
I have a problem with Marvel Comics stealing all the.
That's
Viking-
yeah. That's the appropriation of culture.
Yeah, what are they doing that
They're
for? And they're making
appropriating
like comic book BS. It's like, no, man, those
Yeah.
are my respected, like, forefathers and gods and goddesses.
Sure. Now I want to go back to the beard. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You're talking about the horse and the long beard. You actually had a long beard. Oh, you've got the picture. Wow.
The light's funky.
No,
Yeah,
but we can see it. That is a hell of a beard. Now, so part of uniform code is does that break uniform code when you're wearing the beard? How's that work for SEALs?
Well,
And this
if I
leads
was-
me into what we're going to get to in a little bit about uniforms. But
if I was in a dress uniform,
yeah,
I wouldn't go out in public.
okay,
The thing with the SEALs was I didn't wear a uniform for like 2 years in public. I was either overseas, and whenever I'm home, I'm in civilian clothes. Because a
okay,
beard for my job was pretty much required.
okay. Wow.
I had to wear like special.
Because you had to fit in with the people that were there.
I had to wear special boots to be able to run really fast because I had to run faster than most.
And you're
I'm
gonna,
giving
you're
away
gonna
some
know
of the video, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you're gonna know what Kristen's talking about in a minute. But before we do anything, can I just say you have done a story, a joke, and a trick, which means you have hit the joke, story, trick trifecta. You have a special graphic for it, and you also will get your name on the credits of this show forever going forward. But now it's time for a segment that we call "What the Shit Is This?" All right, so we were talking about a uniform code, and one of my guilty indulgences on the internet, on YouTube, is watching stolen valor videos. For those of you who are watching and don't know what stolen valor is, this is basically people pretending to be in the military and dressing so that they are stealing the valor of those who served. It is a crime. It's a crime, but people get busted all the time for doing it by military members, as they should. And there are lots of great videos on the internet. There's tons of people who pretend to be Navy SEALs. You can see all those. It's pathetic. It's sad, but also some of them are very funny. And that is what the shit is this. For today, I found a video of this guy.
Hey, yo,
Gets tracked
yo,
down.
soldier, yo, army guy.
Listen.
What's up, man? I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you
Plays it cool at first. I
for
just
your
wanna
service,
thank you.
man.
Thank you for recognition.
Yeah, man.
This
What's
is-
up, man?
This is
What are you doing here in Pasadena,
Well,
California?
Pants are drooping.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I just wanna, dude. I'm just curious, man. Like I was in the service too,
Oh yeah.
I'm just curious.
but like I was just wondering, what's up with those shoes, man? Like the only way you.
The MOS that I am, these are actually
I gotta run
issued
faster
to
than
us
most people in the
because of the
military.
missions that we go on. We're required to be faster.
We're
man.
required to be faster.
What's going on with the phone, man?
I'm just wondering, like, cause like
love
only
he
way
just
you wear
looked at it,
shoes
he's
like that
"What's up
with
with
the
those?"
ACUs is if you're on profile.
I'm low profile.
I'm low profile.
Our
He's-
MOS,
The guy almost
They don't want
laughs
us to really
himself
tell
when he
people
says
what we
that
do.
because he knows he's full of shit.
it's
What's your MOS? What?
that's just something I can't.
Well, the thing
share.
about
Can't share.
profile,
something I can't share. But hey,
He said, I
airborne
can't share
leads
my
the way, right?
airborne all the way.
I'll see you.
Hey, dude, no,
Airborne.
seriously, like,
What's the deal with the phone? I can't have me being on.
I'll blur your face. Look, I'll
The
blur
guy's
your
so
face
concerned.
when, look, I can blur it. I have the
Secrecy.
app
Just
to
don't
blur your
post this
face.
online.
I won't post
I
this
don't
or
even know why
nothing.
you're filming.
This is for me. This is for my records, man.
Okay.
Thanks, yeah, for sure, because I respect you.
Oh my God.
But I
It
just
gets
want to know,
worse.
man,
It
like,
gets
I was in the
worse.
service too.
So he asks
Yeah.
about the flag.
I just want to know, like,
You-
I'm coming at you
crying.
peacefully, right? Yeah, but
Oh my God.
why the hell do you have an American flag right on the center of your freaking chest, man?
But I do it differently. Our unit does. With the flag being on the side, the enemy
Yeah, on the
can't
side,
tell
you
it's
can't really see
American.
it.
We're coming at them. So we put it on the front of us to let them know that America's on their way.
He just got tough. He started shaking his head. America's
That's
on their
the-
way.
That's the biggest crock of. Who the?
See him clenching his fist.
Yeah.
He's like ready for.
What is
fight.
this? This is your Armed Services ribbon? This is the NATO
And a
ribbon?
NATO medal.
Yeah.
With
What
me-
unit? What unit are you in?
I told you, I cannot tell you that. And I don't put my name here because when my time comes, I don't want to be remembered for who I am. I want to be remembered for all the accomplishments that I did. And it's allowed in our unit.
It's allowed in our unit.
The haircut, I gotta say, you got the right haircut. But what about the beard?
And the white T-shirt.
Yeah.
When I shave, I get bumps, and usually we're hiding in the jungle and everything.
Usually we're hiding in the jungle.
We're allowed.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think you watched Rambo one too many times.
Yeah. So
okay.
He calls him out. We don't need to get into the rest. The guy walks away. Have you called someone out for stolen valor before? Is that something that you've experienced in your life?
Yes, I have. And,
you say that defeatedly, as if you're not proud of it. I think that that's a thing that you should be proud of, that you should defend.
Well, sometimes it does have to do with somebody who's having some real big issues.
Yeah, that's true.
And if somebody's doing that, what's going on in their life that they have to do that.
Yeah.
And so just like every time I look back on it, I've called people out, and it was in a bar. We were all drinking, and so the guy started getting real angry. Like that guy started getting angry. You could see him clenching his fists.
Yeah.
He was close to throwing down.
Sure.
If the guy questioning him wasn't cooler about it, the guy was like, whoever was asking the questions was just like, my hat's off to him.
Yeah.
Because I was a little more aggressive. The other guy aggressive. It turned into a fight, and ended up really busting the guy up.
Really?
But it was like, and that was in my Conan days when I was getting, but it was part of those times when it was like, you just, right after buds, you're just so full of piss.
Well,
and
not only that, but after deployment, I mean, if you've got friends who have died for that uniform, I can't imagine what it feels like to see someone who put no effort into it. And that, one of the famous Stolen Valor series on YouTube is Don Shipley's channel, where he has the the list of every buds class and everything, and he'll go into detail in shaming some of these people. And in those details, what you learn is a lot of them have served, but it's like they did 3 years, they did one tour on so and so.
No problem, 3 years or one tour or whatever you did.
That's admirable.
Awesome. If you're flying drones in that 40-foot container in the middle of the desert, man, that's off to you, man. You're doing amazing work. Don't worry about trying to be a SEAL.
I love that message because that message isn't reinforced, that they probably feel like they need to be something that they're not, in that they're not living up to the hero image that they think society needs to have of them. And the truth is, anyone who does that service and that sacrifice it should feel like a hero, because they are.
So when I switched my mind on it, was I started thinking about what was going on in those people's lives, and after I beat a couple of them up, I was like, hey, it doesn't help anybody, it doesn't help me. Plus, every time you get into a fight, you're gonna get hit a few times, you're gonna get hurt. It just happens. If you're a professional fighter and you fight somebody, there's a good chance that you're gonna get a couple of hits. It's just one of them things. So why would you do it? And you're really teaching that guy a lesson? Is something really gonna change? And then here's the clincher: is that you know how many times I've been called out for stolen valor?
Have you?
Yeah. Talk to Don Shipley. I probably have the record right now with Don Shipley for people calling and saying, hey, there's that Kristen Beck person on TV I just saw. And said there's no female SEALs. And Don goes, well, yeah, Kristen Beck, she's senior chief, SEAL teams.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, that's fucked up. And it's, sorry, I cussed.
No, you're fine.
But the thing is, like, I get called out all the time. I was walking on an airplane one time, and I had I have a trident on my neck right here.
Mm-hmm.
And what was I wearing? No, I was wearing a hat. And somebody was walking on the airplane, and they were looking at me and started kind of laughing. They're going, bullshit, stolen valor. And they started like saying stuff. And I was going, seriously, dude? And I said, I was a senior chief, Navy SEALs. I said, they got a freaking movie about my life. Why don't you open your eyes up and start looking around? You'll know that I am a SEAL. Yeah. And the guy was like, oh. And he kind of walked back to his seat. And I think he jumped on his phone and started looking some stuff up. When I was getting off the airplane, he was there and he said, hey, I apologize. Thank you for your service.
Wow.
But he ended up being a pretty cool guy. But
that's awesome.
I get called out all the time. So I know what it feels like, and I know how aggressive people can come at you. Sure. When you have somebody jumping in your face and start pointing at you and calling you a liar, like that's their first line.
Yeah.
You're going to automatically, everything's defensive. Everything's a fight.
Yeah.
That guy was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. He came up and well, he knew that guy was going to fight, back up if he came up and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" But he said, "Hey, I want to thank you for your service." I think also he wanted the guy to really play into the what he was trying to do, which is
why are you filming me?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Everybody should be called out and told, dude, whatever you did in your life, if you work construction, you're a welder, you drive trucks, whatever you do for a living, man, the world can't move without you. You know, we need
I appreciate hearing that,
And
especially right now when entertainment has been like one of the first things to go and it'll be one of the last things to come back. So a lot of me and my show business buddies feel like low man on the totem pole right now in terms of like how much we're needed. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to end with this. And I say this in every show that I do for the military. I always think about our role in society, like what everyone's role is. Everyone has a role to play is sort of what you're saying. And you all are the heroes when shit gets real. I'm the band on the Titanic. That's my job. And I'm happy to do that job, to be the band on the Titanic and keep playing and be there for morale. So I hope that this show does that for people. And I hope that you talking to people inspires them. And where can people learn more about you?
Google.
That's the easiest way. Just Google Kristen Beck. Your book is called Lady Valor.
No. There's a movie that I want everybody to watch.
Okay.
It's a documentary film, and the documentary film is Lady Valor.
Lady Valor.
And you can buy it, ladyvalorfilm.com.
Okay.
I think it's on Hulu still and a bunch of other things. But that film is like, it's an easy film for any redneck to watch because there's a dog, there's a gun, and there's a beer in every scene.
That's awesome.
But honestly, the documentary film is real easy. It's real light, a lot of military stuff. And if you have anybody in your family, if you have a friend who is, lesbian or gay or transgender, or you have somebody in your family you just don't understand, just watch that film and see that people come in all different shapes and sizes and everything else. And this is just one more. And if you can watch that film and see me as just a Navy SEAL, Chief, Kristen, Christopher, Caveman, however you want to see me. But if you understand that diversity is what makes the world really good, and compassion. And then maybe you're going to see your cousin or your friend in a little different light, Just
awesome.
watch that film, it might open your eyes a little bit.
I definitely will, and I hope some more folks do too. Kristen, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. I hope that you have.
Can I tell you my call signs?
Yeah.
So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even my Venmo, everything's the same. It's at Valor for Us. Valor with the number 4 US.
Valor for Us. All right, we will absolutely do that. Also, in addition, you recently had to sell a farm because of some stuff that's going on, and your friend set up a GoFundMe for you. And I'm gonna put.
No, don't talk about that.
Okay.
I got a little bit of money. Is a good enough amount to get me through a couple months.
Awesome.
And that's all I was saying was I'm trying to sell my farm.
Yeah.
It fell out because of COVID. And then I had to make some changes, and I'm trimming trees and I'm cooking as a fry cook in one of the bars downtown to try to get the money to be able to just get through these few months. And there's a lot of people out there that are having real tough times.
Yeah.
And everybody just, buckle down. We're going to get through this.
Awesome.
I made a promise also that every cent that was raised on the GoFundMe that I get, I'm going to give it back to other GoFundMe accounts.
Sure.
And I think right now it's like $6,000.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of people pay it forward to me.
Sure.
And every cent that I have right now, I'm paying it forward. And hopefully we can keep that rolling. It might instigate some other people. It's not always somebody who's like down all the time and you just keep giving them money over and over and over again. I'm just one of those people that I just hit a rough spot.
Yeah.
I have enough right now to like put me through that rough spot. When I'm back on top, I'm giving it all back.
That sounds great. Kristen, you've got a great heart. It's been fantastic to have you on the show. And man, I hope to stay in contact with you. I always look forward to your tweets, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you very much. See everybody.
All right. Kristen Beck, everyone. Such a great guest on the show. We really appreciate her joining. And gosh, so good. We have a couple things left, but first of all, before we do any of that, I want to let you know this show is kept alive from my Patreon sponsors. You can join for as little as $1 a month and get all kinds of exclusive content for that, including the pre-show party, which is the show before the show. If you're a fan and you want to show it, this is the best way. And the link is in the show description, or you just go to patreon.com/Michael Kent. Greatly appreciate that. With all that said, we've done jokes, we've done stories, and now it's time to do a trick. You know what? Before we do any of that, I didn't teach you all a trick this week. Why don't I teach you how to magic?
Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. You ain't messing with my magic.
Get a deck of cards. If you have a deck of cards, get them right now. I'm going to teach you how to magic. Here's what we're going to do. You need a 6 and a 9. That's all we need, a 6 and a 9. Okay, 6 and the 9 are going to go into the deck. So we'll take the 6, we'll put it somewhere in the middle of the deck. We'll put the 9 somewhere in the middle of the deck. With just that, 1, 2, 3, the 6 and the 9 we retrieve immediately from the deck. That's the trick. I'm going to teach you how to do it. Here's what you do. You have 2 6s and 2 9s, okay? So, red 9, black 6. You need 2 red 9s and 2 black 6s. Every deck has 2 red 9s and 2 black 6s. So you get those out. Before the trick ever starts, you prepare with those secret 2 cards, one of the red 9s, one of the black 6s on the top and on the bottom. That's how it starts. Now you've got the other 2 red 9s red 9 and black 6. You put them on top. So you show those, the red 9 and the black 6, right? So you've got, in this case, we've got the 6 of clubs and the 9 of hearts. The ones that are on the top and the bottom are the 6 of spades and the 9 of diamonds. But people don't really, you're not going to say, I've got the 6 of clubs and the 9 of hearts. You're going to say, I've got the 6 and the 9. That's all you say. So you bury these into the deck. You go 1, 2, just like this. You put those in. Now you remember you've got the other black 6 and red 9 on the top and bottom. This is where you do an old magic move called the Hoff Zinzer toss. You don't need to know that name. All you need to know is that when you put your finger and your thumb on the bottom and the top of the deck, you need to practice this a little bit, but when you throw it from one hand to the other, the friction on your fingers pulls those cards out and you've got the 6 and the 9. Why those 2 numbers though, LOL? That's a good question, Eric, and I've thought about this a lot. And first of all, 69. The other answer is that 6 and 9 are easily confused for each other. And so if you just say I've got a 6 and a 9, they won't remember what's what. It could be literally anything. It could be a 3 and a 10. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. The point is I've taught you how to magic.
Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. Taste me how to magic. You ain't messing with my magic.
Okay. And now, my friends, it's time to actually do magic for you. folks. We will see you next week. Hey friends, over the years I've had hundreds of unofficial supporters. Now you can make it official. Join my Patreon, 4 different levels, tons of exclusive benefits, access, behind the scenes, backstage video, access to shows that you normally wouldn't get to see, producer support, credits, shout outs, VIP events, everything you can think of. And you can join for as little as $1 a month. So thank you in advance for your support. I love all of you.